Welcome to Motorrad TV. It's been a while since we've reviewed anything. This is the new F450 GS from BMW. We've all been pretty excited waiting for this bike to launch. It's finally here. The details of the bike have been out for a while. All the European journalists have already written it. You have the spec sheet, so you already know a lot about the bike. What we're going to get into today is more of what it feels like to ride this bike. So fortunately, I also own BMW's F650 Funduro. This is a bike BMW launched in the 1990s, and concept-wise, it's pretty similar to this. It was BMW's entry-level budget adventure bike, which BMW sort of missed the mark with the 310 GS. But with the 450 GS, things have gotten a lot better. It's closer to giving you that big GS experience in a smaller package. So they're quite similar in terms of the setup. They've both got 19-inch front wheels, 17-inch rears. The difference is, obviously, this is a single. This one's a 450 twin. But because it's modern and BMW's latest tech has gone into this bike, it's a little quicker than this is. But obviously, this is a 30-year-old bike, so it's expected to be a little slower. BMW's all-new 420cc engine has a very well-distributed range of torque thanks to its 135-degree firing order instead of the conventional 270 degrees that most of the twins today use. So it isn't just for the exhaust note, which isn't too bad either. So I actually spent the last 2 days riding the exclusive variant, which is the middle model, which is above the base model and below this one, the trophy. And that comes without the clutchless gearbox. And honestly, I find that a lot better for experienced riders because this clutch is a little strange. Some people are going to like it because of the convenience, but when you are pushing it, it makes a big difference because what happens is without the clutch, your power actually kicks in only at 2700 RPM, and that's not very convenient, especially when you're off-road. While the engine is buttery smooth at low revs, it does get a bit buzzy past 6000 RPM, but the bike does move and how. Get on the throttle and the steady pull has a very solid feel to it. It's got a sporty responsiveness in the mid-range, which is where most of the real-world riding happens anyway. Of course, the 450 GS comes with BMW's full electronic suite that everyone's already familiar with, which in my opinion is a bit of overkill for a 420cc motor. I found myself just keeping the bike in Enduro Pro mode all through my time riding it. The quick shifter works perfectly well and still holds that all-familiar shift clunk you'd find on the bigger 1300 GS. While it's a great failsafe for newer riders just getting their off-road chops, the fact that the power starts to kick in only at around 2600 RPM means that the revs are already pretty high when they do. At 2800 RPM is when the auto clutch disengages fully, but the transition is fairly smooth based on the kind of throttle input you give it. With the automatic clutch system, the gear doesn't hold when you need to stall the bike on inclines in case you do get stuck. I suppose a hill hold feature should really be introduced here. Not really a deal breaker, but something the more adventurous riders are definitely going to be looking for. The overall build quality of the bike is definitely to BMW standard, and things weren't rattling around after 2 days of really aggressive riding for BMW's own shoot. The bike feels nimble on the road and off it, but off-road the tires are a bit of a letdown. Unfortunately, here in India we don't get the Metzeler Karoo 4s that the international spec 450 GSs get. We get the Maxxis Max Flow instead. Decent on the road, but not so great off it. The weight's pretty well distributed and you don't really feel the heft of the bike unless you're attempting some technical, low-speed off-road maneuvers. So as you can see, it's quite stiffly set up. Even though the suspension right now, the rear is on the softest setting, it gets quite bouncy. Like outside of highway speeds where you're going to feel the bumps, off-road, I have dropped the pressures a little bit and it's still bouncing all over the place. So I think I'm going to probably drop the pressures a little more. Despite being stiff, suspension travel is pretty decent and you're going to have to really be pushing it to bottom this one out. So in terms of the seating position, it's quite neutral. It's quite comfortable. The bike isn't too wide And now I'm 5'10". I'm flat footing on this bike, so it's quite comfortable. The seat's quite comfortable too. It's just going to make a big difference when you're doing longer stints in the saddle. It does come with the rally seat, which is a bit taller, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. I think it goes up to about 865 which is, it's okay. It's not too tall. Honestly, I think I would really like to try that seat because this feels a little low for me, especially when I'm riding off-road. It also comes with a lower seat for shorter riders. I don't need that, but I definitely would want to see the comfort level of the rally seat on this bike. Comfort and ergonomics are classic BMW. The seat is well padded and the rider triangle is fairly neutral. An entire day in the saddle and I wasn't overly fatigued despite Goa's current unforgiving weather. So lucky for us, we've also got these other two bikes right here, which is just to give you a reference point of where the 450 stands. Now, this is superbly comfortable if you're touring, not so great off-road. The 450 is a little better than this. As you can see, the Himalayan is a bit longer than the F450 GS. It doesn't really make a difference in terms of comfort. Like once you're riding the 450, the BMW, you don't really feel like it's cramped, even though it is more compact than the Himalayan. Uh, Off-road, the Himalayan is going to be a little better because of that 21-inch front, but the GS isn't very far off. In terms of off-road, among this lot, the benchmark would be the KTM Enduro 390. And actually it's going to be better off-road. This is the one with the global spec suspension. So it's also got a 21-inch front and an 18-inch rear. This is not that off-road focused. It's more of a touring bike. So don't expect it to do the kind of stuff this bike does or as easily as the Enduro does it. This is can do trails, can do a bit of light off-roading, but that's not what it's intended for. It is more of a touring bike, and obviously if you get some trails along the way, it's not like this bike can't do that. BMW have definitely hit the mark with the F450 GS in terms of the true GS DNA trickling down to the smaller model. Something that definitely wasn't the case with the 310 GS. If long distance touring is your thing, then this bike's definitely gonna tick a lot of boxes for you. It won't shy away from a bit of light off-road either. Although, you may want to opt for BMW's larger windscreen to keep fatigue at bay. So, altogether, it's quite a well put together all-rounder kind of bike. It's going to be great for entry-level riders who are trying to get into adventure riding. It's not a very intimidating bike. It's again not very off-road focused. This is definitely what BMW is intending with the 19-inch front wheel. This bike's more for touring that can handle a little bit of off-road. Although it's a fantastic bike, I really like the build quality of it. The power, the spread of torque is pretty decent. And for the price that BMW has introduced the bike at, I think it's quite reasonable. What's left to be seen is how much the service cost is going to be of this bike. And I think that